Keith, I want to get to your question from Fallbrook. You say, I have a great female singer in my band, but there is a certain place in her voice where it becomes a bit harsh. How do I sweep the EQ to find where I can cut that narrow band of harshness?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll answer it in two ways. Uh, the first way is it's a bummer, and I've worked with a lot and it's sadly it's a lot of female singers. There's some guy singers that'll do that same thing, but there's a lot of female singers that have this upper mid range, um, and some people can call it a nasally thing or whatever it is, but right there it just kind of hurts. And the problem is if you EQ it out, it works great at the points where it's hurting your ears, but now when they sing lower, it's going to sound really hollow, and that's where your life is coming from in that vocal. So if you're cutting out this 5.5K maybe, and that's taken care of when it hurts, now when they sing a lower octave or something else, it sounds really hollow and fake. And so you want to, if you have a digital console or an analog console with the ability to go narrow with your cut, then of course the trick would be boost it, slide it up to where it hurts the most, and then go as narrow as you can on your cut. Now slide it a little bit more to where it hurts the absolute most, and then cut. And now you're cutting this little slice out, and that would be the way to cut that out. Now the far better approach is if you have a multi-band compressor. So and multi-band compression is really complicated, and only digital consoles would have it, and even then, most digital consoles don't have it. It's a plugin you have to run separate, or some consoles give you one or two channels of multi-band compression. And for the uninitiated, a multi-band compressor, whereas if you all understand what a compressor is, that every time something gets loud, it turns it down so that it achieves this neutral peak. You know, that's as loud as something can get. It does it universally for the whole bass to treble. A multi-band compressor divides things into bass, middle, and highs, or 4 or 5 different bands. But a basic multi-band compressor has 3 bands. So let's say when something gets loud on the bass, it'll cut it down, but let everything else go loud. Okay, if you're following me, now you can imagine you turn that middle band, you can adjust that middle band right to the 5.5. Once you find the frequency, say with your EQ, and you know it's 5.5, 5,500 hertz, now you set your middle band to be 5.5, you make it kind of narrow, and then now you set that threshold way down. So when they're below the threshold, they sound supernatural. All the low notes sound supernatural and not hollow. But whenever they get into that one, and it's going to hurt, now it's carving out that 5.5 only when they're loud. And if you do that, we'll do that on albums all the time, because in the studio we have all those tools. And if your digital console allows it, or if the church can just simply buy a multi-band analog compressor to plug into your analog console, although they're pretty pricey, you will be absolutely thrilled with the results of that.